All right, so this week I chose one of my questions because of how much I learned from it from the enrichment reading. And it was, as a teacher, how can I create an atmosphere of freedom in ideas but set boundaries for my students? And after reading the enrichment, I realized that boundaries don't really need to be set per se in a classroom when it comes to freedom of ideas and teaching methods, because as Paulo taught me, that you end up alienating your students because they see you as a teacher, they know you're the teacher, but to alienate them is to say, I know everything and you know nothing. And so for me, I realized that that's not really the issue, but rather creating more of an atmosphere of freedom is. Because he explained that teachers often try to fill students with contexts of narration that are completely detached from reality, with no significance. The words are emptied of their concreteness and become a hollow, alienated verbosity. So what he's talking about is a banking method where teachers, rather than expressing and putting students into real life scenarios or problem posing education, it's rather a banking method where they just deposit information that students are supposed to retain, but inevitably is meaningless. And so a solution, like I briefly touched on, was a problem posing curriculum where students do have the freedom to kind of rule the classroom. And also bringing up creativity and transformation and reflection in a classroom is super important, because the students need to be able to learn for themselves, and it's not that teachers should stand up there and again alienate by saying, I know everything, you know nothing. It's creating an atmosphere of freedom that's the issue and harder to do. But also part of this week was learning how we view those we teach. And so changing our perspective as teachers and allowing students to have that freedom is a big part of teaching, I think, and can do a lot of good in the school systems if teachers were more like that. And as we learned, or as we pattern our teaching after Christ, we can have more patience for our student, we can have more love, we can see them as God would see them, and then we can humble ourselves and allow us to be guiders rather than dictators in the classroom. And I think that's super important.